So it sounds like a moment comes along where somebody, I guess maybe a friend who was a professional actor or something, says to you, if you're serious about this, you need to probably try to get an agent. But being in Massachusetts, most of the agents are, I know there's some great casting agencies
Sure.
there, but how does that advice lead you to New York?
Sure. Yeah, it was a friend. It was a family friend who was an actor in New York, and it was around sophomore year that I started doing a little less. When you're young, you're doing theater. It's Guys and Dolls and South Pacific and things like that. And then somewhere around my teens, you get afforded the opportunity to do some more straight plays, and I started getting a little more excited about the subtlety of acting, and decided I think it's what I want to pursue. And so I ended up asking this one guy, this family friend, what's the move? What should I do? And he said, well, you need an agent. If you really want to do this, the agents get you the auditions, and agents are in New York. So it was just kind of, it just made logical sense to me to try and spend some time in the city. And again, logic led me to believe that if I want to interact, if I want to get an agent, I got to make some friends with agents. And working at a casting office seemed like the best opportunity to reach a broad spectrum of agents. So I ended up getting, I think they still make them, these things called the Ross reports. They're this, little booklet of all the agents, all the casting directors in LA and New York. So I got them, and it was a list of all the New York casting offices, and I wrote this long letter.
I need to interrupt you here for a second because you were good enough to share this letter on Twitter. And I'm going to, just because I actually think it's pretty impressive for a kid to have written this, so I'm going to take the liberty, if I can, of just quickly reading it. This is March 28th, 1998. To whom it may concern, I am writing this letter to introduce myself to you and to make myself available to your firm for possible internship work during the summer of 1998. My name is Christopher Evans, and I am a high school junior with an intense passion for theater. I have been very actively involved in theater for 7 years and have chosen to spend the summer of 1998 taking acting classes on Saturdays at the Lee Strasberg Institute in New York City. Since my weekdays will be open, I was hoping to arrange an internship in the city, allowing someone to take advantage of a hardworking individual like me in exchange for a tremendous opportunity to be exposed to the business side of theater. I have enclosed the resume for your review. I would greatly welcome any input you might have. I am currently planning on visiting New York City during the week of April 20th to April 26th. I could make myself available to you then or at any time you wish, should an interview be desired. Thank you very much for your interest and for taking the time to look at this. Close quote. I think that's very impressive, and it did lead to something.
It did. Yeah, it did. So funny. I enclosed a resume. What was on that resume? It was like Guys and Dolls. That's so funny. Yeah. I mean, at the time, it felt to me like, why not? Who wouldn't? I'm offering just, I'll get you coffee.
Yeah.
And a couple places did respond, and God, I remember those phone calls so vividly, getting back when landlines were a thing, and then the landline rang, and my mother said, Chris, there's someone on the phone for you. They say they were from New York. Oh my God. And I ended up, I went to New York. So I got 2 internships initially. And I said, well, why not try and, expand my experience? So I did, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at one place, Tuesday, Thursday at another. And very quickly, I recognized one place was offering me much more opportunity on phones and things like that, while the other really was relegated to filing headshots. So I ended up just switching to that one internship, and over the summer, that was my job. It was the casting office for Spin City back when Michael J. Fox was doing it.
Bonnie Finnegan, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I just I'd come in on a Monday, and they would have released a breakdown of that week's casting off opportunities, and you'd come in at these huge envelopes, all these submissions, and I would set up actors to come in and audition. But I was, on the phone with agents all the time, agents. And so by the end of the summer, I had a little notepad that I kept of the nice agents, the ones that were very friendly to me. And at the end of the summer, I just kind of shot my shot and said, listen, I know summer's coming to an end. I'm just Chris and Bonnie's office to you, but I'm an actor, and I would really love just 5 minutes if I could come down and audition. And so, I think just to be kind, a couple places were like, yeah, sure, come on down. And luckily, one of them signed me and said, yeah, let's do this. What's your schedule? And I said, well, I got to go back and finish high school.
Because you were 16, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I just turned 17.
Just
yeah,
17,
but I was going into my senior year, and so they said, They said, okay, well, you got to get back as soon as you can. Pilot season starts in January. So I went back to high school and I doubled in a few classes and I graduated early in January and went back to New York, and I actually got the same internship. But I was auditioning, and I was very lucky. I got a pilot that pilot season that got picked up, and it only ran for a few episodes, but that got me to LA, and the rest, it went from there.
Yeah. So that was, just to remind people who might remember the show, that was Opposite Sex on Fox, I believe.
Yeah.